All right, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Happy hour again. Welcome to Pintcast, a podcast that saves physical therapists from missing out on amazing insight, remarkable ideas, and motivational stories here in the world of physical therapy. I'm Jimmy McKay. I'm going to be your host today. Excited today. I gave him a nod. We got to talk about it. Feels like a lot like a Gary V of PT. I don't know. I'm going to put it out there. Yeah. That's what I'm feeling from this guy. Kadeem Howell is here. Very excited. You hear the crowd roar behind me. Kadeem's going to talk about some mindset things. This is why I like Kadeem. He talks strategic mindset and then tactical. Great. Now you got that mindset. What are you going to do about it? So we're going to get into that. Also going to talk about literally all the different things that he has done to do this hustle mindset. I think I could say that safely. Hustle mindset, growth mindset, abundance mindset, and what you can do in your physical therapy practice or life to bring you what you want. Great show. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, just so you don't ever miss an episode. And now we're doing the video thing, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, at PT Pintcast on all the socials. Let's change it up and let's bring him in here. Kadeem Howell on the show right now. There he is.
What's up?
Kadeem, thanks so much for taking some time out and talking with us today. There's the socials on the screen at Dr. Deem on Instagram, Twitter, Kadeem Howell. And you're in New York City. Just outside of New York City. You're in Westchester, a man after my own heart. I just left New York City not long ago. It was difficult, but there's that. I feel like we're going to talk a lot about the hustler mindset in terms of like, I don't know. I feel like New York kind of like beats that into you in terms of speed and the veracity of the city and even the areas around the city.
You know, the cliche saying is, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So, you just got to have that hustle mindset. You'd be like, oh, it's so expensive to live here, but you got to will his way.
And if you want to stay there, you'll find the way. That's the thing. People are like, how do you do that? I had students ask me, how do you keep so much energy up? I'm like, if you really want it, that question never crosses your mind because you understand that the world, the universe, whatever you believe in terms of the secret, there's this universal force, whatever, it's not going to give you anything unless you go out and get it. So we'll do the first question.
Unless you take action,
right? First question is always the hardest. We get the hard question out of the way first. What are we drinking today? That's the question.
Maker's Mark.
Wow.
Maker's Mark. Private Select. I'm a big whiskey fan.
Well done. I'm not going to do. Yeah, I went to like a local beer world today, and I had this on the last episode too. It's Millhouse Brewing out of Poughkeepsie, New York. I'm in the Hudson Valley. It's called the Grocery Getter Tropical IPA. But then I just noticed this walking back from the fridge. On it, it says the art plus science of beer. Isn't that describing physical therapy? Little art, little science, and let's cheers to that. So cheers to you, Kadeem, for coming on the show, and tink as we drink.
Cheers.
Thanks to our friends from Owens Recovery Science for bringing you the first round, the single source for PTs looking for personalized blood flow restriction rehabilitation training in your clinical practice. If you're going to do it with human beings, do it right. They have the equipment and the certifications. Check them out online at owensrecoveryscience.com. Johnny Owens and his team, Kyle Kimbrell, a lot of smart women and men in their crew. So check them out online and their new podcast, the Owens Recovery Science podcast on iTunes. Kadeem, what's your story? I like to say, what's your superhero backstory? How'd you come to this great profession? Where's open-ended? Where's it start?
So I grew up in Long Island, in a little town called Manhasset, New York, in Long Island, on the island, as we say,
the island.
Long Islanders,
yep.
And, on the island. And actually, it really started my aunt. So I had an aunt. She was a valedictorian in my high school, super smart. She suffered a stroke and had lupus in college, and she was getting home therapy. So like I was like 5, 6 years old. Like I really understand what was going on, but we always had a therapist who I know now is a therapist coming to the house. I was like, oh yeah, that lady's coming to check on auntie. I was like, all right, whatever. And so that was like my first introduction to like, oh, okay, you can help people recover. She had a left-sided weakness her whole life up until she was deceased due to complications of lupus. And I was like, oh, so, and fast forward to high school. So I was a football, track athlete. I was always hurt, like always. And and our athletic trainer, he was a PT. for the school, and like he was cool. So like when I would get hurt on the field, his clinic was literally down the road. So like he had a good, nice feeding system. Like,
Way to go.
so tip to all you PTs out there, HTCs, work at a school, all your athletes go to your clinic. So he had a great business model going on.
Hold on. It's not proximity, it's relationship, right? It's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know that guy. Who do I want helping me? I want that guy.
That guy. He was awesome. Like even to this day, his name is George. He's the CEO of Professional PT. They're like one of the largest PT clinics in the Northeast. They have over, I think, 300 locations now.
Wow.
And that was when they had 2 locations. This is back in 2003. So now see how they scaled their enterprise to over 300 clinics. So I was like early adopter of their business model. And he was a cool guy. Like he was, charismatic, and like he had a nice car and everything. I was like, what do you do? I was like, I'm a PT. Like, when like this one I thought he was the athletic trainer. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, like fix my ankle, but I was like, this is dope. So that's, that was like, oh wow, like I could do sports or things sports related and help people be cool and drive a nice car. Like that was like high school me thinking, oh, okay. Sure. I was like, PT's doing it. Little did I know at the time, it's a lot more than that. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Right.
But, and then, so I got a athletic scholarship to SUNY Albany, so upstate New York.
Yeah.
I was a track athlete. I was All-American in high school, got recruited to do long jump, triple jump. I was All-American as a freshman on long jump, competing against the big boys in Division One.
Man,
so
what would that look like?
Oh, hold on. Oh.
You know what that would look like. Ooh. Oh my goodness, if you're watching the video cast, we're actually watching. Is this you? I want to make sure.
20 pounds lighter. Whew, boy.
There's a lot going on. Let's get some audio.
Oh my God.
You're warming up there in the back of the long jump.
This is what the internet does. So my furthest long jump was 24 feet. 3 inches, I believe.
Feet, dude.
Yeah.
Insane.
Triple jump was like 49 or 50 feet, which is like, it'll get you to nationals. Not gonna get you on the podium.
they measure mine in like centimeters, but not a whole lot of centimeters. I'm not a jumper, not at all. But yeah, we just had you though, right?
That was me. Wow, I didn't.
The worst thing would be me showing a video of someone else with the same name as you. But that was like, I was like, what are the odds? Kadeem Howell, University of Albany, and I looked at your resume and I was like, the time fits. That's got to be him.
That's me, and that passion of sports and athleticism. So I was in the athletic training room in high school. College was even more so. I redshirted my true freshman year. My wife, my girlfriend at the time, now wife, she was on the track team. We were going to track meets in Puerto Rico, Jamaica, like all over the country. And I was in my dorm room like, this shit sucks. But, that's kind of where, the strengthening the mindset started for me. It's just like, I'm injured. What am I going to do? Get to work, go to the rehab room, do what I got to do, listen to my trainer, go to PT outside of the training room and just boom, 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 attack it. So that's kind of like when it really started to, dealing with adversity was like, okay, how am I going to deal with this? Following year, made it to nationals as a redshirt freshman. Wow. So I was able to use that adversity and kind of parlay it as motivation.
You saw what you wanted, and you knew there was something. You saw where you were, and you saw what you wanted, and you said, "Well, from A to B, I need to do something, and this is what it needs to be." So this is, if you follow Kadeem on his social media channels, and we'll throw them up there again: Twitter, Kadeem Howell, or Instagram, Dr. Deem. First and foremost, for you, since I came across you, and this is one of the reasons I like social media, is you can trip across people we would never come in contact with each other just because we're not geographically next to each other, and you start watching what people do, not necessarily listening to what they say. Like even Gary Vee will say that. Don't listen to what I say, watch what I do. And what I saw you do was consistently post and say things that were relevant to me, which is like, they weren't just those quotes on the wall. They were practical and tactical. Like, listen, if something sucks, fix it. Like, I mean, and that isn't one of them, but because yours are more prophetic than that. But like, that was
use it.
Do that tomorrow. Tweet that tomorrow. But adopting a growth and abundance mindset, now I get it. That's where it came from, right? It was you saying, I wanted this, and I realized I was hurt and I was in the dorm room. So how do I go from here to there? I hustle. I figure it out. I think we lost him for a second there. We'll take this opportunity to thank our sponsors. There we go. You back?
Yeah, I'm back. No, I was gonna say that that's where it started, and from there it was just practice. Just practice makes perfect. It sucks to go through it, but like you kind of just get like an onion, you just grab another layer. Like you just get more hardened when you deal with adversity and you come on the other side. But yeah, like I was able to use that, and like me personally, like in PT school, like fast forward to PT school. It's kind of on topic now with Black Lives Matter and everything. Like while I was in school, my younger brother was a victim of police brutality. Like this is like second or third year, first or second year PT school, and like I remember like, because it was hard. I went to LIU, Brooklyn PT school. Shout out to Blackbirds. They're now the Sharks, I think. They changed their name, something like that. But but now like that was another adversity thing. I was like, I either sit here and crumble. It's my brother, my only brother. But I was like, I gotta finish this. I gotta finish PT school. Like I was ready to drop out. I was like, there's a lot going on in my family and everything. But like again, it's like dealing with adversity in the past. You just kind of like get another layer, get hardened, and do not like be ignorant, but you just know how to deal with things that aren't in your favor, and kind of fuel that to keep you going. So like, yeah, my grades dipped for a little bit in PT school because and my professors, they knew, and they're like, they understood. They're like, but my classmates, a lot of them don't look like me per se. So like, it was not like I kept it in. Like I was like, family, my girlfriend at the time, I was like, this is just another one of those, like life throw these punches at you, but like, it's all about how you dip and dodge them. You can't just sit there and take them all day and expect to stand up. You got to bounce back a little bit from time to time.
Well, first off, I'm really sorry that your brother had to deal with that. I'm sorry he had to live through that. I'm sorry but I think one thing that you're highlighting too is that one individual was affected by police brutality, but not one individual was affected by that situation, because you were saying my grades. No. Well, why? Because this was not an incident that just happened and went away.
100%. And when people ask me like, how do you deal with this? Because it's going around the world, it's just show support. That's all. Because there are ripple effects, and that's all you really do. That's all you really need is just support and understanding and recognition. So I'm really hopeful with American society these days is that people actually show some empathy. PTs are really good at empathy. And that's all families really ask for, and that's, people ask like, what can you do? That's it. And I did get that, and that helped so much. And, my brother to this day, like, people ask him if he's okay. He's a badass. My brother, he took it like a champ. It's really my parents that really feel it, and I look up to my little bro sometimes. I'm like, dang, man, like I deal with some adversity, but what you went through. But so like we're both semi tough. I call him a little tougher than me, but
I like that.
Maybe we get it from our father. Maybe we get it from our dad. Who knows?
You highlight empathy and not. And I've talked about this on a different episode with a friend of mine who's a psychologist. He's like, it's important to know the difference of these two words, which is empathy and sympathy. I cannot sympathize with you and your brother because that has never happened to me and my brother. I can't do it. I can't say, hey, man, I know how you feel, and that sucks. I cannot do it. But I can empathize. That's the only thing I can do, and that's important to do, which is not to minimize it and say, hey, man, I can guess how that would feel. I cannot guess how that would feel. But I can empathize and say, I have no idea how it would feel, but if something happened to my brother like that, yes, I would be devastated. Yeah. I mean, so empathy and sympathy are two different things, but they're important to recognize the differences and what you can gain from those, because I think you can open a bridge, you can open a door with empathy.
And then that's really it. And it goes a long way, it helps way more than anyone could believe, and kind of gets them through the day, basically. So I was able to use that to get through PT school, towards the end, and then go into my later refills. And I was able to carry that. My first job out of PT school was with the Buffalo Bills.
I saw it on your resume.
Bills Mafia.
Yeah, upstate.
I'm a Jets fan. Jets, Jets. But my first job was with the Bills. That was a little rough. Rex Ryan was there though.
Yeah, he's no bull.
But even that took a mindset like what I did, and all the PT students out there do not do what I did. Just disclaimer. So to get in the NFL, I had no idea what to do, but I was like, all right, I really want this. I worked hard. I'm in sports medicine. So I went on the NFL.com, right? I even went to NBA.com. I looked up all the PTs and trainers, and I would put, John Smith at hawksnba.com.
Yeah.
Email. So I did every team in like, do not do that. They do not like that.
But how'd you learn that then?
But with the Bills, Sean Gibson, shout out to Sean, believes with the Saints, New Orleans Saints now. He actually responded to me. And he was like, Kadeem, I repeated the email. This is the formal way to apply to the NFL as a PT. And they don't really take on a lot of PTs.
No.
They take on ATCs or PTs.
Right.
But I was able to parlay that. I told him I was interested, potentially going to ATC school. Sean, he's a minority. I'm a minority as well. And he liked my story. He liked the perseverance I went through. It shows character. So even if you're applying for a job, showing that, or applying to PT school, they like showing that character about you.
This is the second time in 16 minutes you've explained a relationship that has led somewhere for you that formed from a relationship, right? Your high school ATC, who was also a PT, who had a great business model being down the school, but down the street from the school. But like the reason you worked with him was not proximity. It was relationship. And then you told your story to someone and he liked your story and said, I'll listen to this.
Yeah.
And it opened a door. I tell people all the time that like people will ask me for like resume help. And I'll say, there should be a section at the bottom for like, I don't even know what you call it, just like random stuff. Like I've put on there, I was a high school or a middle school and high school swim coach. And people are like, why are you putting that on there? I go, because maybe that person was a swim coach. Maybe his kid swims and it's like literally a conversation starter. I was like, I do Ironman triathlons. Like, why are you putting that on there? That's about you. It shouldn't be about you. I was like, this is my resume. It should in fact be by me. The way I was able to find your video about long jumping was I went on your LinkedIn and saw you went to school at the University of Albany and you were in track and field. Then I Googled your name and I found a long jumper. And that's what so it's like
put that on your resume.
Put it on your resume. It doesn't need to be the whole thing, but there should be a little part about the bottom that really is focused on you and what you like. It's this random, like, how do I have a conversation with this? So the resume will get you the interview. The interview gets you the job. But that random thing on the resume can spark a funny conversation that goes for an hour that gets you the job.
Makes you stand out. I put real estate on my resume, and some people are like, "Oh, wait a minute,
doesn't make any sense until it does."
Until it does.
All right, I want to throw this out there to you. So focusing on negatives will not lead to change. You've said this, and when I bring this up, when this comes up with anybody in your life, doesn't need to be a PT student, but a lot of times they do. We do focus on negatives, myself included. How do you respond?
So like the negatives, right? Like I put a tweet out there, like there's always more solutions than problems, right? Like, cause what that one problem is you have. I don't have enough money. I'm not where I want to be in life. I don't have the job I want. But on the other side of it, how many other solutions, how many possible jobs are there for you to do? How many more opportunities to make more money are there? So the solutions will always outweigh the problems.
Yeah.
Every time. Because you have a finite definition of what that problem is. And the solutions are limitless. There's more than one way to skin a cat for a reason. There's so many ways to solve that one problem.
I forget who said it. Somebody way smarter than me, but they said if you think there's only one solution to a problem, you don't understand the problem yet.
No,
because there can't be only one solution. So you kind of alluded to it in terms of solutions outweighing problems or outnumbering problems, and PT side hustles, right? So clinical and non-clinical. So if you're sitting there saying, and this was a quote that you had tweeted, and it got a little viral, got a little spread around. There was some positivity and negativity, and the funny part is the negativity actually makes things go further, which is counterintuitive. But it was, you heard this in PT school. This line from who? Who was
my
this
professor? My anatomy professor.
What did he say?
Dr. M. He said, I think someone in my class, I forgot who it was. If any of my classmates listen to this, please say who you are. They're like, oh, I'm going to blow up as a PT, make so much money. And because it was like our business lecture at our third year of school, like not really a business lecture, just kind of going over insurance and how it works. And he was like, guys, I just want to preface, like, you'll never be rich just being a PT. Even I took it sometimes. I'm like, hold up, I'm trying to blow up. I'm going to be Dr. Deem. I'm going to kill it in PT. What are you talking about? It wasn't until a couple of years in, I was like, you know what? Dr. M was right. But it wasn't just specific. I mean, we happen to be PTs or in PT school, but he's right, because you'll never be rich. And rich is a vague definition, right? Everyone has their own definition. but you'll never be rich just being a PT. And I capitalize just for, because just being a PT, that's implying just being an employee. Like if you're a business owner, you're no longer just a PT, you're a PT and a business owner.
Right.
And, there's a big difference between the two. And, I read this book called The E-Myth, and he talked about the difference between the entrepreneur and the expert. And like just reading that, I was like, yo, because I worked for a few clinics, and it focused so much on being the best PT, but they weren't so much the best entrepreneur. And those are two separate entities.
Right.
Like I used to think they're synonymous. If you're the best PT, you're the best business owner, you're gonna kill it. Nah. I mean, there's a few people that find that nice balance. Or really great PTs, great, but it's like I've seen, and just through colleagues, just like it just keeps teeter-tottering. I'm just like, wow, yeah, man. So like just being a PT, like it's we can complain to APTA, we could complain about insurance companies, the public service loan forgiveness. You'd be like, oh, we're just waiting for that kick in. I know so many people don't get that. APTA, that's not their job.
Right.
Insurance companies are in it to make money. So we can complain as PTs and we may never see results for 20 years, or you can do something about it.
Right.
I hate to sound so blunt about it, but like there's so many, like as a PT, like, yeah, we could talk about clinical side hustles. Like, I was talking on a PT podcast last week. Like, one of the big things I picked up was affiliate marketing. And I didn't know this at the time, but like a lot of outpatient PTs can relate to this. So, you have a patient, they want to do their home exercise at home. Oh, where can I get this equipment? Your clinic may not sell it. You send them an Amazon link. Hold on, wait a minute. Sign up to be an Amazon affiliate. You get paid for that link the patient's going to buy anyways.
Amazon appreciates it. They appreciate you, and they will appreciate you.
That's the easiest side hustle. Any PT, especially an outpatient. Maybe inpatient, maybe a little bit too if they're discharged. But it's just like, whoa, like patient use Hypervolt on a patient. I want a Hypervolt. Send me affiliate links in Hypervolt. You get like, what, $20 for a Hypervolt that a patient's going to buy?
Right.
Say if you sell a patient, 10 patients out of the year want to buy Hypervolt. That's like $200. You're not doing much.
Right.
Put that towards student loans. Put that towards, anything, your savings. Like, whoa, there's so many. Like, the internet makes it so open.
I agree with you. There's got to be a difference though, like because I've seen people push things too hard for that reason. So as long as the reason, and this is probably should be true behind anything. As long as the reason behind you saying something or doing something is true, there is no reason whatsoever you shouldn't benefit from it. Right?
Like you have to have a strong why.
Right. If your why is sound, then by all means, because Amazon will give you that affiliate link.
Like if you're bridging the gap, it's something they're going to buy anyways. Now, if you're selling them something they're not interested in, then you're going to come off as a sleazy salesman, knocking on the door. But if it's something they're going to buy anyway, like that's just a missed opportunity. It's just like something they're going to do anyways. So it's like, I mean, you could disclose, I'm an affiliate, so I get a kickback for this product, or the TheraBands, or the stretching equipment or dumbbells. So like it's totally fine. Just let them know. But like it's something that people are like, oh, but I don't have extra money at the end of the day, I'm busting my ass. And it's just like, whoa. That's like the lowest level thing you can do, like without changing your lifestyle.
Right. We're going to do it with this podcast. We talked about it yesterday and we're going to do it with you. Every guest, we ask 3 questions. And one of those questions is a what question. So what's something you watched, read, downloaded, whatever, book, movie, podcast that you think the audience would benefit from? I asked that question because I like to stack up my reading list. I like to see what other people are reading. You mentioned E-Myth. I've read that. Great book. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, we just talked about yesterday, like, why don't we have a running list where people can just go, hey, I wonder what all the guests on that podcast have said as their book to recommend. And if they click on it and buy it, I don't know, we get $1. Now we get to donate that $1 to charity, or we get to fund a scholarship to send a PT student to the next CSM. Yeah, it just levels up.
It's vertically integrated.
I wanted to go back before we skip this. You said focusing on negatives would not lead to change. I have a rule for this. If you get punched, if the world punches you in the mouth, and it will, I shouldn't say if, when the world punches you in the mouth the next time, you are allowed 24 hours to bitch about it, not a minute longer. You can sulk and you can go get a beer or several beers and you can pull the covers over your head and hide in bed. You got 24 hours running clock from the moment you get punched in the mouth. After that, get your ass out of bed.
Something I learned in football, short-term memory.
Short-term memory, right.
we're humans, so we have emotions. You can suppress emotions if you want, but you're allowed to express yourself. But short term, that's it.
Short term. All right, let's talk about some of these PT side hustles, clinical and non-clinical.
Okay.
First off, something I have no idea about. I know the term flipping. We've seen those shows on HGTV and about house flipping. Is there car? There's car flipping? How do you do this?
So yeah, it's like so before PT school. I mean, I love cars. I've been into cars. My dad, his first job was a transmission. He was a transmission technician. So like growing up, me and cars were a thing.
Right.
I had a Civic. Even my wife talks about like in college, I had an engine underneath my dorm room bed, and I was working on it. Like she was just like, "Wait, what?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, it's for the car back home." Turns out that car got stolen. But yeah, I know, right? Stolen from in front of my house. Crazy enough, Long Island. I can't. But no. So yeah, so I flipped a couple cars in college, like undergrad, and after like before PT school. Obviously, PT school kind of took up all my time, and I lived in Brooklyn, so I couldn't park my car anywhere. I mean, I had a car at my parents' house, but yeah, I flipped a couple cars. It first started incidentally. I had a couple cars, a couple Volkswagens, a couple Civics. A lot of my friends were in street racing. I wasn't in street racing. I was just into having a nice, clean car. Kind of nice wheels and stuff, but like sometimes I'll need parts from a car. So I'm like, oh, let me get that. Let me just buy the whole car. You're parting it out. I'm like, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this car. Like, let me just fix this up. And I was like, oh, I don't need it. Let me just put it on Craigslist. So
I look at car flipping, which is like you could literally insert anything flipping, which is if you were a gymnast, right? And now you can be a gymnastics instructor.
Yeah.
If you were a swim coach, you could be a swim instructor. If you know something that it would take someone this much time to learn, but you could do it in this time, they will pay you to eliminate their problem. So to me, car flipping, like house flipping, listen, I'm probably going to buy a house in the next couple of years, but am I going to be able to decorate it like you see on those shows? No. So is an interior decorator, like, is it worth their time? If it makes the house look like I want it to look like, yes. So if you can flip something. Going along the line with big, because cars are big, but real estate's bigger. That's property. So you've done all these flips, just so we're clear with the audience. Rental estate flipping. Yeah.
So like for me, it was just one so far, and I'm actually looking at another deal now. But I'd say about 2017. I bought a two-family in Troy, New York. It's upstate.
Yeah, Albany.
Yeah. Who don't know? I went to Albany because I was a student in Albany. I lived in one of those like rinky-dink houses. I had a landlord in Staten Island. He would fix some things, real cheap. And I'm just like, one day I was just sitting in my dorm room. I mean, my apartment room. I was like, wait a minute. I was running the numbers.
Doing the math.
$350 a room, and there's 7 rooms. He added a room. It wasn't probably legal, but you did it anyways. And I was like, oh, this dude's making like $2,000 a month off his net, doing nothing. Like the cheapest repairs. And I was like, all right. And I started looking up the prices, and I was like, oh wow. I mean, in school, looking back, I would have bought a house, with like refund checks from school. I used my refund check to buy some nice rims for a car that I had. I ended up selling the rims in the car, but I was like, if I use that refund check to buy this house I was living in, or someone similar, I would have killed it. But so fast forward to this deal that I had, and it's one thing about being a PT, and it's like, I was telling a lot of people, I want to get into real estate, and they're like, oh, Kadeem, you're a PT, just stick to your day job. And I was like, what? I was like,
solving problems. So you're looking at your own problem and saying, well, if I can buy for X and sell for X plus 20%, that seems like a pretty good deal. But I feel like people need to know about the ins and outs of real estate because you could screw up. But if you're willing to look it up, like I'm telling you, don't before you pay for a course or buy a book or do anything, go to the Google machine. And if you're willing to put your time in, you can educate yourself on how to do things, fix an engine, flip a house, anything.
Some people call it YouTube University. But yeah, it's like for real, and with that one, I paid the rookie tax. Rookie tax is, you just do something anyways, you make it some bumps and bruises, but at the end of the day, you made it on top, but it wasn't so smooth along the way. So that first deal I did, no one wanted to teach me anything. I asked everyone I know, they're like, no, you waste your time, real estate's great, but you don't know what you're doing, you're a PT, your day job. And I'm like, no, I want to do this. And after that conversation with my professor about, be rich as a PT, I was like, how do I become rich? invest in real estate. I said,
Yeah.
got it. YouTube University. So watching all these videos and honestly, it ended up working out. Sleepless nights with contractors because I'm 3 hours away, managing a rehab. I bought this house, didn't even look at it. I just I took out a loan, bought the house, fixed it up. I knew because I'm handy, I've done things around the house growing up, working on cars and stuff. And I was just like, my wife was just like, sure it's going to work. I was like, I got this.
Confidence before.
But, like not really fake it till you make it, but like, you got to believe in yourself because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will.
Yeah. Let's talk about two more. One you've been talking about a lot recently since I started following you on Twitter, which is day trading. So like I've heard about this and I literally know nothing about it, but day trading, walk me through it. How'd you get into it? How's it work?
So, I mean, I struggle to call this a true side hustle because at the end of the day, it's depending on the market. We're talking about the stock market. A lot of people are just like, what is the stock market? Most PTs, I'm assuming, have some type of retirement account. They're all derived on stocks. It would be a collection of stocks, individual stocks. They're all based off the stock market. Pieces of large companies that we know of, Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, you name it. So I trade. This is something I picked up on my own, but I took a little bit more emphasis now that I'm a PT. But it's basically just trading stocks, which is these pieces of companies and options. Options are contracts of those pieces of companies, 100 at a time. And we just go in and out. And since I took this downtime because I'm furloughed. For those who don't know, New York got hit pretty hard by COVID. Yeah. I've been furloughed since March 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And it's rough. New York, it's a lot of jobs are not hiring because there's a slowdown of available people who want to come to PT, even though we're essential. No one wants to come in.
Sure.
My job, we opened up, nobody showed up. It's just one of those things. People want to be safe. Especially in the second wave. So I took the initiative and I was like, you know what? My first day I got furloughed, I was like, this dude is promoting this course on option trading. Like I've done it a little bit, just because YouTube University, but it wasn't as in depth. So I was like, you know what? I emptied out my piggy bank of coins. I bought this course online. I was like, let's learn. And then since I was learning like the market, just like learning different things in the market, I was like, oh wow, I can make money doing this. And I'm like, wait, people do this for a living. It's like, oh shit. So I'm sitting at home, just making $200, $300 a day. I was like, wow, that's close to what I make as a PT. I was like, this is pretty cool. And a chiropractor buddy of mine, he's like, yo, my buddy's running this day trading group you might be interested in. He's a PT, so get a kick of this. He does his profession. He's been doing this for years since he graduated PT school. He makes $1,000 a day, no matter what. If the market is going up, going down, and he treats patients in the afternoon. Usually around 10:30 in the morning, we're done for the day. Made a couple trades. And we'll treat like 3 patients a day, 2 patients a day. Like he makes way more money trading than as a PT because he loves being a PT.
Right.
And like that quote I put out, like you'll never be rich just being a PT. I do PT because I love it. Like I have no expectations like it's gonna make me super wealthy, even if I owned 1,000 clinics, maybe.
Right.
But like, it's like I had a lot of interest before PT school, and they're still there. And people are like, oh, can you be a PT? But I'm like, and like I'm a human, like, and I got my scrubs on. I'm a PT, but when I take the scrubs off, I'm Kadeem.
Well, here's the thing that I've noticed is that you've literally just through everything we just talked about, through you going to school as a long jumper, as a triple jumper, being injured, car flipping, leveraging social media, affiliate marketing, you've just doubled down on yourself. Like you've never said, I'll buy in on someone's paradigm or someone's thought. That's not to say don't take a class. By all means, if there's a class that can educate you, if you're going to pay $50 to learn from someone who's already paid the rookie tax, as you talked about, by all means, let's take that class. But you've doubled down on yourself.
Yeah,
that's the lesson to me. Is if I have time and I'm willing to do it, I'll learn how to day trade, or I'll flip real estate, or I'll flip cars. And the next thing that you're doing now is you're doing an e-comm drop shipping. So I've heard the term drop shipping before, but I don't think I actually know what it means. I don't know what it means.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking on that Amazon affiliate, right? I was like, I'm sending, I send a patient this link from Amazon store. I was like, wait, why don't I just make my own store? Why do I got to rely on someone else's store? I'm going to get the full commission.
Okay.
So I was like, drop shipping I've heard of. I've had some family members do drop shipping.
What is the what is
drop shipping essentially is basically importing products. It could be it's more commonly from China. So I don't know if you heard of the company Alibaba.
Yeah. So like the
Alibaba is like
Amazon, like Middle East.
Basically, of China. So basically it's you running an e-commerce store. Shopify is the biggest one. I think Facebook's going to come out with their own. So you make the storefront, the internet storefront, and you don't hold any inventory. So if someone buys from your store, the inventory is in China, it gets shipped from China directly to your customer. The warehouse is producing the product. Who introduced this to me? A PT named Chris Johnson, a running PT.
Oh, Zarin PT.
Yeah, Zarin PT. I took one of his courses in PT school, and he had TheraBands, and he had Zarin PT on it. He was like, yeah, there's a website called Alibaba. This is back in 2014, 2015. He was like, yeah, I got my logo on them. I paid pennies for them. And I'm shipped from China. And in his course, he gave us all these bands. And I had this band that I used so much. I was like, wow, this is a good durable band. And I hit him up about it. He goes, yeah, you go on Alibaba, you upload a logo on it, and they'll ship it to you for pennies. And I was like, whoa, there's something going on here. Hold on, hold the phone, time out. And so now that I'm dormant here because of furlough, COVID. Thank you, COVID. I was
the idea is if you were gonna say, hey, I'm gonna buy 100 pint glasses, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna spend X on them, but I gotta ship them to me, and I gotta hold them, and I gotta hold my breath until I sell them for $10 a pop, and then I gotta ship them to someone else. I've paid for shipping twice, or I paid for shipping once, and I paid the shipping cost customer.
And COVID delays things.
Right? So, wow, that is a cool concept. I like that a lot.
So, I'm launching my store relatively soon. It's a big undertaking, but I love projects, obviously. But so I'm doing our drop shipping store just based on PT stuff, like a Theragun, some TheraBands, put a bunch of a stretching strap. So I was like, these are things I keep sending patients to do.
Things you'd already recommend.
You know what I mean? I was like, why not just keep it in house? So this is my test run. If you follow me on any of the social platforms, I will post it when it launches. I'm still working some of the nicks and knacks in it, but I was just the same idea. I was just oh, why not just bring that in house? I mean, yeah, they come from China, but TheraBands, especially the all PT, yellow, red, they all snap. It's just they don't last that long. I was like, if I could get it for pennies and give it to my patients, the loops, I was like, oh, Perform Better is the top name brand. But the way I think of it, right? You go into a bodega, a deli, a gas station. Look how many brands of water there are.
Sure. 15.
There's 15, 30 brands of water, but all those companies are still in business. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to be Fiji or Essentia. I'm going to be Nestle.
Aquafina. Be like Aquafina.
Aquafina. That stuff's nasty. You know what I mean? And it's not I'm trying to be money hungry or anything, but I was I'm in that market, and people talk about saturation.
Kadeem, but here's what I hear. The same thing. The same theme is happening again. This is a relationship. People aren't going to buy from you unless they have a relationship with you.
Trust.
That's trust. It's a relationship. They've said, listen, this guy is. I understand. I understand if I buy from Kadeem, he's going to make a nickel. But that's how life moves. But if they buy why you're doing it more than they understand it is business, that's a relationship. Listen, I'm going to buy this Hypervolt from anywhere. But if I buy it from him, I either did a discount or it's easier, it gets me faster, or he recommended it. It's relationship building. This is the fundamental.
We're the PTs, we're the experts, so we have to wear that with a badge of honor. The responsibility, and I'm always doing the best for my patients. I'm not gonna sell them crap.
Right.
So I'm a vet, whoever I'm getting it from Asia. I'm focusing on warehouses, or people that have shipment or inventory in the U.S. because I'm competing. Who's my biggest competitor? Amazon.
Right.
So if it takes, because of COVID, 3 months from Asia, no one's going to buy from me. I don't expect them to. I patients. But if they have a factory in the U.S., I'm like, okay, I'll get this to you in a couple of days, maybe a little bit cheaper than Amazon, but it's me. And it's like, okay, Kadeem, cool. And that's one of those PT verticals, it's not so much like, oh, I got to learn a whole new skill. You have to learn the skill of sales and being a person, which
but you already know
it's
that.
Like not too far off because flipping cars might be a little foreign to some people. Oh my God, I don't know about cars.
Right.
Real estate, maybe a little much, but think about things that you do and reverse engineer it. Reverse engineer your student loans, reverse engineer your car payment. And it's like, how much do I need of this to cover that?
Yep.
And that's the biggest things that face PTs.
I try to reverse engineer. I try to reverse engineer my student loans because I try to have Navient be a sponsor of this podcast because I was like, listen, if I'm paying you a lot of money and if I could just mention you a bunch of times, could you just like wipe out one of my loans? Just one, like literally one of my loans? I would like that a lot. But everything you're saying is
right?
not about well, shouldn't say it's about because sales gets it like a dirty, like a 4-letter word, right? Sales, even though it's a 5-letter word.
Yeah.
And I'm bad at counting. You're convincing people, you're selling people on exercise or a plan of care. And if you
do for that for a living.
Right. We do that for a living, but for some reason it gets this negative connotation. There's a lot of PTs out there, Jerry Durham, Greg Todd, who say, listen, this is not a dirty word. Like this is what we do. It's the why. If you're convincing someone to buy something for a crappy reason, that's a crappy person. If you're convincing them to follow a certain path for a good reason, then that's a good reason to do that. So everything I hear in terms of your e-comm, drop shipping stores, everything I've heard in terms of day trading, in terms of real estate flipping, it's relationship building. You rebuilt an engine 100%. And I don't have to pay for a new engine. You just say that's a relationship. I trust him. That engine runs. Great. Let's do that. I love that. I want you. Can you do a hi, my name is for me?
And and it's like, for me. Hi, my name is Kadeem Howell.
So what I want you to do is hi, my name is Kadeem Howell, and you're listening to PT Pintcast. Look right into the camera. Give me like your best voiceover artist.
Hi, my name. Yeah. Hi, my name is Kadeem Howell, and you're listening to the PT Pintcast.
Boom. I think everything about everything you've done is about side hustles, but all the side hustles are about relationships. And if you're good at relationships, good things will happen.
We're PTs. We're pros at that. We touch strangers for a living. And that's what I tell people what I do. I touch strangers for a living, right. And my best patients are the ones that build the best rapport with.
Right. If you like as a PT, you meeting someone and 5 minutes later, you having their hand in their groin if they've got an adductor issue, or you're like in their glute, if you can make that not weird, you can.
That's the hardest part of being a PT, I think.
But that's a relationship. It's like, hey, listen, here's what's going to happen. You got a glute issue. Like you explaining it. It's like, but that's a relationship builder. It's like, hey, here's why you're here. I'm going to explain it to you. That's education and relationship building. Using education.
You learn the skills in school.
Yes.
You learn the skills. You learn, you read a textbook, read an article, but like the hardest part is parlaying all that information and building relationships. Because if they don't like you, like I did home care for a little bit too. Older people, if they don't like you, they let you know from day one. It's over.
You're out. You're not coming back.
It's over. I don't care how smart you are.
I literally
come back.
I got taught this.
Build relationships.
I got taught this in PT school from my professor Sky Donovan. She said, I was like, listen, I'm not going to be a good PT. And she's like, why do you say that? And I'm like, I'm not smart. I'm not as smart as all my classmates. And I'm not throwing any of my classmates under the bus. But she was like, would you let all of those people touch your grandmother? And I was like, well, no. And she's like, exactly. And I was like, oh, it
with me, like, it matters.
It matters.
Like my first job was part-time as a PT clinic. And a classmate of mine who's a valedictorian applied for the same position. I got it over her. I was like, yo, she's applying. Oh, shit. If she's going to get this job, she liked me. She's like, I had you perform on a couple of my coworkers, and I just loved something about you. You connected.
It's a relationship. It's a relationship. You got to trust that person. Yeah. I love that. All right. Well, when that e-commerce store comes out, when that dropshipping course comes out, I want to be the first person to sign up for it because that's valuable. Like that's providing a service. That's bridging a gap. That's solving someone else's problem. All those things we're supposed to
solve
be good.
Problem. Entrepreneurs solve problems. That's it.
That's it. Entrepreneurs solve problems. And what do we know about solutions? They outnumber the problems.
A lot.
All right, Bridget, let's do 3 questions. Let's do 3 questions brought to you by our friends from RAS Medical Staffing, AUREUSmedical.com. If you want to travel, like, think about this racket. If you work as a travel PT, right, you get paid a little bit more. And if you wanted to, every 3 months, you're like, I don't know, I guess I'll be in Hawaii. I don't know, I guess I'll be in Florida. I don't know, I guess, well, not now, but like, I don't know, I guess I'll be in Alaska. Probably not Florida right now, but like, that's pretty sweet gig. So AUREUSmedical.com. That's AUREUSmedical.com. First question on 3 questions is a where question. You're in New York, you're in Westchester. But where is somewhere in the 50 US that you wouldn't mind going for 3 months and just doing anything?
For me, it would be Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yeah, very specific. I like that. Why?
You know, it's like, I don't know, it's like one of those states you forget about. You know, it's like, wait, that's a state? Sorry to anyone from New Mexico, you know, Albuquerque. You know, even the Looney Tunes make fun of, like, oh, you made a right at Albuquerque, you know.
Turn at Albuquerque.
You know, but my wife, she used to do PR for Santa Fe, New Mexico. And you know, and it just sounds so cool and cultural and like unbothered from like, you know, like from the architecture, just the culture, the people, like the Green Chili Festival. And I was like, yo, I would love, like, I live in New York. I'm just used to the concrete jungle, commuting on the Metro North train. It's just like, it's really monotonous, but like Santa Fe, New Mexico, I was like, yo, that'd be so dope.
Like it.
And like, just to like be there, you know, it's like, that was one place I'd love to be. Travel PT, hang out there for a little bit. I love desert heat. So sign me up.
Santa Fe. Yes! You got it. Second question. We go from from where to what? What is something that you've read, listened to, downloaded, watched, something you'd recommend to the audience, something the audience would benefit from?
You know, I mentioned like the E-Myth.
E-Myth
that's
is
a book. E-Myth is big. So I'll mention another one. I'd say Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know, it's one of those books. It grammatically, if you're a grammar Nazi, that's a horrible book. Like,
really?
I don't know who edited that book. Like, grammar wise, it is horrible.
Yeah,
but mindset.
Got it.
Yeah, like, it was a horrible book. My mindset, though, like, you know, if you truly like take for what the book is saying and like apply it to yourself, you know, Robert Kiyosaki, he wrote a great book in terms of switching you from the, you know, I got to be employee, you know, grind till I'm like 65, because I'm a PT. Like, am I gonna be doing aggressive manual therapy to 65? Probably not. I mean, there are some PTs out there doing that. Good for you, not me. Sorry. But like, he gets you in that mindset, and like, to anything, like, mindset is so important to get you going to what you want to do. If you can't visualize it, then it's not gonna happen.
I like it.
So I definitely have to say,
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
All right, last question is a who question. Who's someone the audience should know more about? I on purpose leave this like super open-ended and ambiguous.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna do a non-PT, like my guy Chris Johnson on Twitter and Instagram. This guy, like, I started following him in like
PT.
No, another guy named Chris Johnson.
You forgot Chris Johnson? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a common name.
That's actually,
but like, I think he spells his name on Instagram with like 3 S's because it's so common.
Okay.
3 or 4 S's. But like, no, because like he's an Army vet. He's super smart, and he just talks about, like, you know, the kind of mindset things I talk about too, and you know, he was able to scale, you know, the internet and then just like influence on social media, and like everything he talks about just points. I mean, he usually attacks like, you know, like people who are comfortable with 95, people who like love their credit score but got no money in the bank. So it's like more like a little financial literacy mindset, and you know, actionable steps, and like I kind of tied into like some of the things like I thought about subconsciously, and that's why like I put it out there on Twitter and Instagram. So I'm just like, yo, like that's life in the 21st century. So, you know, just as PTs, you know, step outside the PT realm, try to learn something from someone else. Like, he's someone I highly recommend.
Like it. All right, it's time to do the parting shot now. Parting Shot, brought to you by our friends from the Academy of Orthopedic Physical Therapy, orthopd.org. We have a contest coming with them very soon. We're going to have Chris Hughes back on the show to talk about, if you're going to be an orthopedic PT, they've got all these courses, like more than 25 courses to up your game to be a better orthopedic physical therapist. We gave away access to Current Concepts of Orthopedic PT, which is their code word for like, be better at taking the OCS. Like if you want to pass the OCS, take this course. Like, and the course is written by the people who are literally like the people writing the papers with BPT. So we've got some more coming out for you. We're not going to give away one course. We're going to give away access to any course. So we're going to say, you win, now you pick. If you're like, I don't want this, I want knee, I want shoulder. So we're just going to give access. So orthopt.org. Kadeem, I feel like you're built for a parting shot. Like I feel like all you do is tweet parting shots. Like that's what you do. So no pressure. Parting shot, your last chance to just like mic drop moment. What do you want to leave with the audience? It's all you.
Basically, you are not your profession. It's up to you if you want to be. Like I call myself Dr. Deem, but I don't necessarily post just PT stuff. I post about my life. I post about what I do, my interests, and don't let anyone take that from you. Because you can fall into that imposter syndrome where people start doubting you, like, oh, Kadeem, you're a PT, you can't do real estate. Oh, Kadeem, you're a PT, you can't do stocks. Like, no, if you think you can, you can. You just got to put in the work. And I would say is like, don't let your profession limit you from life. And as us PTs, like, I like other things. I'm going to do them. And that's it. 9 to 5, though, I'm the best PT you'll ever be. Come see me in Grand Central.
Yeah, but it's just relationship building. It sounds like what you're doing, and that's with a patient every time in front of that patient or anybody who interacts with you online, which is why I kind of gravitated for you. I was like, when I see him tweet, I'm just like, hey, I benefit. I'm fueled by this, and I'm not drained by this. Which on social media you can very, very, very quickly be drained by this. So if you want to follow Kadeem, the socials there, Dr. Deem on Instagram and at Kadeem Howell on Twitter. Kadeem, I want to make sure this is not the last time that you come on the show. Let's bring you back on when you got that dropship course and talk more about that, because I feel like that's things that PTs. Let's get good stuff out to people. Let's fight the bad with the good. That's our solution to the problem. Let's make sure the good thing spreads and not just the bad.
Exactly. I got a couple of things coming up, but we're going to find out for the next episode, so stay tuned.
All right. Thanks so much. See you, my friend. Have some fun with that makers.
Yeah, thank you so much.